Just a veterinarian. What could she know about explosives? They said. 15 minutes later, when she expertly disarmed the bomb, the entire bomb squad froze. Welcome to Hidden Legends. Before we begin this intense story of hidden expertise and life-saving skills, tell me in the comments what city you're watching from today. And if stories like this deserve to be told, hit that subscribe button. Dr. Sarah Mitchell checked the appointment schedule as she unlocked the doors of Riverside Veterinary Clinic at 7 a.m. Another busy day ahead, 3 surgeries, a dozen routine checkups, and the usual emergency cases that walked through her doors. At 34, Sarah had built one of the most respected veterinary practices in Denver. Her clients trusted her completely with their beloved pets, and her reputation for handling difficult cases had spread throughout the city. What they didn't know was that her steady hands and precise technical skills had been developed through training that had nothing to do with animal medicine. "Morning, Dr. Mitchell," called Jenny, her veterinary technician, as she arrived for the early shift. "Rex is scheduled for his follow-up at 9. His owner is really grateful for what you did last week." Sarah smiled as she reviewed Rex's file. The German Shepherd had required emergency surgery after a car accident, and Sarah's quick thinking had saved his life. But Rex wasn't just any dog. He was a retired military working dog, and his handler had mentioned something that made Sarah's pulse quicken slightly. "Jenny, Rex's owner, Officer Davis from the K9 unit. He mentioned Rex was trained for explosive detection, right?" "Yes, that's right. 10 years of service in Afghanistan before he retired. Why do you ask?" "Just curious about his background. These military dogs have such interesting histories." What Jenny didn't know was that Sarah understood Rex's training better than most people could imagine. Before she became Dr. Sarah Mitchell, veterinarian, she had been Technical Sergeant Sarah Mitchell, United States Air Force Explosive Ordnance Disposal. For 6 years, Sarah had been one of the military's most skilled bomb disposal experts. She disarmed improvised explosive devices in Iraq and Afghanistan, trained other technicians in advanced EOD procedures, and worked closely with military working dogs exactly like Rex. Her transition to veterinary medicine hadn't been random. It was a way to use her technical precision and steady nerves to save lives instead of risking them. But today, those two worlds were about to collide. At 10:30 a.m., the clinic's front door burst open. Officer Davis rushed in carrying Rex, but this wasn't a routine visit. The German Shepherd was agitated, pacing, showing the distinctive alert behaviors that Sarah recognized immediately. "Dr. Mitchell, something's wrong with Rex," Officer Davis said, his voice tight with concern. "He's been acting strange all morning. Alert posture, constant sniffing won't settle down. It's like he's detected something, but we're not on duty." Sarah's blood went cold. She knew those behaviors. Rex wasn't sick. He was indicating the presence of explosives. "Officer Davis, where has Rex been this morning?" "Just the usual walk around the neighborhood, then here." "But his behavior started when we got within 2 blocks of your clinic." Sarah's mind raced. If Rex was indicating explosives in the area, there could be a bomb somewhere nearby. But she couldn't reveal her knowledge without exposing her past. "Let me examine him," she said calmly, leading Rex into the examination room. As she ran her hands over the dog, she whispered commands she hoped he'd remember from his military training. "Rex, search," she said quietly in the tone military handlers used. The dog's ears perked up immediately. He looked at Sarah with sudden recognition, not as a veterinarian, but as someone who spoke his language. Rex moved to the examination room window and sat in the perfect alert position, staring toward the parking lot. Sarah's stomach dropped. There was something out there. "Officer Davis, I need you to call this in immediately. Rex is indicating the presence of explosives." "What? How can you tell?" "Trust me. Call dispatch now." As Officer Davis made the call, Sarah continued observing Rex's behavior. The dog was focused on something in the parking lot, but his alerts were becoming more urgent. Whatever was out there, it was active. Sarah made a decision that would change everything. She pulled out her phone and called a number she hadn't used in 8 years. "Denver Police Bomb Squad, this is Sergeant Rodriguez." "Sergeant, this is Doctor." Sarah Mitchell at Riverside Veterinary Clinic. I have a military working dog indicating active explosives on the premises. You need to get here immediately. Ma'am, are you qualified to make that assessment? Sarah hesitated. Yes, I am. The bomb squad arrived within 15 minutes, sirens wailing as they established a perimeter around the clinic. Sergeant Rodriguez approached Sarah as she waited outside with Rex and Officer Davis. Dr. Mitchell, you reported explosive detection. What's your background? Technical Sergeant Sarah Mitchell, Air Force EOD, 2010 to 2016. 6 years active duty, specialized in IED disposal and detection. Rodriguez's expression changed completely. Your EOD? Why didn't you say so immediately? Because I've been a veterinarian for 8 years. That life is behind me. Not today, it isn't. What's the dog showing you? Sarah pointed toward the parking lot. Rex is indicating something in the blue sedan, third car from the building. His behavior suggests it's significant and possibly time-sensitive. Rodriguez called his team over. We've got a positive indication from a military working dog, confirmed by former EOD Tech Sergeant Mitchell. Blue sedan. Treat as active device. As the bomb squad began their approach procedures, Sarah noticed something that made her blood run cold. Through the clinic's window, she could see a timer display reflecting in the car's windshield. Sergeant Rodriguez, that device is on a timer. We don't have time for full protocol. What are you suggesting? Sarah looked at Rex, who was becoming more agitated by the minute. The dog knew something was wrong, and his military training was telling him to alert everyone around him. I'm suggesting that sometimes experience matters more than current job titles. Rodriguez studied her face. Dr. Mitchell, I can't ask a civilian to approach an active device. You're not asking. I'm volunteering. And technically, I'm not just a civilian. I'm inactive military with more EOD experience than half your current team. Rodriguez made a command decision. What do you need? Your best tech suit and Rex. If there's a bomb in that car, he can help me identify the components faster than any equipment you have. Sarah hadn't worn an EOD suit in 8 years, but muscle memory kicked in as Rodriguez's team helped her into the protective gear. The weight, the restricted movement, the heads-up display, everything came flooding back. Dr. Mitchell, Rodriguez said through the comm system. You sure about this? Rex is indicating a device that's active and potentially time-sensitive. I've disarmed hundreds of IEDs. This is what I trained for. Sarah approached the blue sedan with Rex at her side. The German Shepherd moved with the precision of his military training, indicating specific areas of the vehicle without getting too close. Through the windshield, Sarah could see the timer, 8:47, and counting down. Bomb squad, I have visual confirmation of an active device. Timer showing 8 minutes, 43 seconds. Rex is indicating primary explosive in the trunk, secondary device under the driver's seat. Copy that. Dr. Mitchell, we're evacuating the area. You need to back out now. Negative. 8 minutes isn't enough time for your robot. I'm going manual. Sarah opened the car door carefully, following procedures she'd practiced thousands of times. Rex positioned himself to watch her back, alert for any changes in the device's status. The bomb was sophisticated. Plastic explosives wired to a digital timer with multiple trigger mechanisms. Sarah recognized the design from devices she'd encountered in Afghanistan. This is professional work, she reported. Multiple fail-safes, anti-tamper switches. Whoever built this knew what they were doing. Dr. Mitchell, what's your assessment? Sarah studied the wiring pattern, following the connections with the systematic approach she'd learned years ago. I can disarm it, but I need complete radio silence for the next 5 minutes. Any electrical interference could trigger the anti-tamper. Understood. All units maintain radio silence. Sarah began the delicate process of bomb disposal, her hands moving with the steady precision that had once made her one of the Air Force's most skilled technicians. Rex watched every movement, ready to alert if anything changed. The timer read 4:23 when Sarah identified the primary disarm sequence. She'd dealt with similar devices in combat zones, but this one had modifications that suggested domestic construction with military-grade components. Rex, stay, she whispered. knowing the dog would understand both the command and the urgency. Sarah carefully traced the wire paths, identifying the main charge, the backup detonator, and the anti-tamper switches. Each connection had to be addressed in the exact right sequence, or the device would explode immediately. First, she disabled the motion sensors. Second, she bypassed the backup timer. Third, she carefully separated the primary explosive from its detonator. At 2:11 remaining, Sarah made the final cut. The timer stopped. The device was neutralized. Bomb squad, device is safe. I repeat, device is neutralized. The radio erupted with voices as the bomb squad confirmed the successful disarm. Sarah sat back in the EOD suit, breathing heavily as the adrenaline began to subside. Rex moved closer and sat beside her, the perfect military dog acknowledging a job well done. Rodriguez approached as Sarah removed the helmet. "Dr. Mitchell, that was textbook EOD work. Why aren't you still doing this?" Sarah looked around at the clinic where she'd spent 8 years building a different life. "Sergeant, I love what I do now, but sometimes the skills we learn in one life can save lives in another. Who do you think planted this device? Someone with military training, the construction techniques, the fail-safes. This wasn't amateur work. You'll want to check if anyone's been targeting veterinary clinics that treat military working dogs." As it turned out, Sarah was right. The bomber was arrested 3 days later, a disgruntled former military contractor targeting locations connected to military animals. Sarah's quick identification of the device's origin helped track him down. Word of the incident spread quickly through Denver's first responder community. Dr. Sarah Mitchell, the quiet veterinarian who'd saved lives by disarming a bomb, became something of a legend. But Sarah tried to return to normal life as quickly as possible. "Dr. Mitchell," said Jenny the next morning, "the news crews want to interview you about what happened. Tell them I'm not available. I have patients to see. But what you did was incredible. People want to know how a veterinarian knew how to disarm a bomb." Sarah was examining a cat with a respiratory infection when she answered. "Jenny, my job is taking care of animals. Yesterday was just unusual circumstances." But the truth was harder to hide than Sarah had hoped. Officer Davis returned that afternoon with Rex for a follow-up visit, and his questions were more direct. "Dr. Mitchell, Rex responded to you like you were military. The way you gave commands, the way he obeyed immediately, that's not something you learn in veterinary school." Sarah finished Rex's examination before answering. "Officer Davis, I was Air Force EOD for 6 years. I worked with military working dogs regularly. When I saw Rex's alert behavior, I recognized what he was telling us." "Why didn't you ever mention your military background?" "Because when I became a veterinarian, I wanted to focus on saving lives, not risking them. The military was a different chapter of my life." Officer Davis nodded slowly. "Dr. Mitchell, what you did yesterday, disarming that bomb, that saved a lot of lives. The blast radius would have included the elementary school next door." Sarah hadn't known about the school. The realization hit her like a punch to the stomach. How many children? 423 students and staff. Classes were in session. Sarah sat down heavily, understanding for the first time the full scope of what had almost happened. 2 weeks later, Sarah received a visit from Captain Williams of the Denver Police Department. "Dr. Mitchell, I wanted to discuss a proposition with you." "Captain, if this is about publicity, I'm not interested." "It's not. We'd like you to consult on cases involving military working dogs and explosive detection. Your unique combination of veterinary knowledge and EOD experience makes you invaluable." Sarah considered the offer. "What would that involve?" "Training our K9 units, medical support for bomb detection dogs, and consultation on cases where animals might have been exposed to explosive materials." "I'd need to maintain my veterinary practice." "Absolutely. We're talking about 1 day per month plus emergency consultation when needed." Sarah realized this was an opportunity to use both her skill sets in a way that served her community. "I'll do it." 3 months later, Sarah was leading a training session for the Denver Police K9 unit when Rex and Officer Davis approached her. "Dr. Mitchell, I wanted to thank you again for what you did. But I also wanted to ask you something." "What's that?" Rex is retiring from active duty next month. He's getting older, and the department thinks he's earned a peaceful retirement. Would you consider adopting him? Sarah looked at Rex, the German shepherd who had helped her save hundreds of lives by alerting to that bomb, the dog who had recognized her as a fellow warrior and trusted her completely. Officer Davis, I'd be honored. That evening, as Sarah closed the clinic with Rex at her side, she reflected on the unexpected path her life had taken. She'd left the military to save lives through veterinary medicine, but her EOD training had ultimately enabled her to save lives in a way she'd never expected. 6 months later, Sarah was featured in a veterinary journal article titled, "When Skills Converge, Military Experience in Civilian Medicine," but she declined most interview requests, preferring to let her work speak for itself. "Dr. Mitchell," asked a reporter who managed to catch her after a training session, "do you ever regret leaving the military?" Sarah looked around at the K-9 unit she was training, at Rex sleeping peacefully in her office, at the clinic where she'd built a life dedicated to healing. "I didn't leave the military," she said. "I just found a different way to serve. Whether I'm performing surgery on a dog or disarming a bomb, the mission is the same: protect innocent lives." "So you're still a soldier?" Sarah smiled. "I'm a veterinarian who happens to have some unusual skills, and sometimes the world needs both." As she drove home that evening with Rex in the passenger seat, Sarah realized that some people are meant to serve in multiple ways throughout their lives. Her EOD training had saved her life and the lives of others in combat. Her veterinary skills saved animals every day. And occasionally, when the situation demanded it, both skill sets combined to protect her community in ways she'd never imagined. Rex looked at her from the passenger seat with the calm confidence of a military dog who had found his perfect partner, someone who understood both his training and his heart. "Come on, boy," Sarah said as they pulled into her driveway. "Let's go home. Some warriors retire from service, others find new ways to fight different battles. Sarah Mitchell had done both, and in doing so, had created a life that honored every aspect of her training and experience. This story was brought to you by Hidden Legends. If you know someone whose service continues in unexpected ways, share their story in the comments, and subscribe to honor those who never stop protecting others, whether in uniform or scrubs.